I'm the Jumper Jacks from the hashtag Animator Live, which has been on hiatus for 6 months now, actually. 6 months. And I'm with my friend here, Ash.
Hello.
And
Today we're going to
today,
be talking about Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters! We're just gonna talk about basically what we, as Ghostbuster fans, what we had to endure till this new reboot comes out, The one everyone's been talking about, and it's like
So much
coming
drama.
around. I know. It's like plague. It's like a plague, or some sort of, fight of the century. It's like between two school of thoughts of Ghostbuster fans. But of course, we'll get that later down the road. First, we'll just like to talk about how we started off being as Ghostbusters fans. First, I'll let Ash talk about her part first before getting to mine, because mine might be a bit long-winded.
Mine's bloody short. Basically, I saw Ghostbusters, the first Ghostbusters movie as a kid. And then a few years later, I saw Extreme Ghostbusters on TV, and I pretty much watched it to death. And that pretty much encapsulates my entire experience with Ghostbusters up to date. I didn't get a chance to watch the real Ghostbusters when it came out because it just either it wasn't on TV or I didn't get a chance to watch it on TV. I don't really remember what happened, but I remember watching lots of G.I. Joe during that time. That's about it.
Right.
I don't think I've watched Ghostbusters 2 either because I just felt like, the first movie is good enough. And then suddenly this one comes out and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. That's your part, right? That's all there is to add. Anything else you want to add on?
That's about it really. I didn't actually play most of the Ghostbusters games either because I'm a busy bastard who plays games for fun and does not play games for fun. And let's just stop it there before I start talking rubbish.
All right. Okay, my story. For me, it starts off with the real Ghostbusters. This is kind of an opposite from Ash's experience. So for me, it's like started from the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters cartoon. And this was when I was a kid, and we used to watch a heck of a lot of it. Both the real Ghostbusters and when they retitled it to Slimer and the real Ghostbusters. And then after that, the movie came out, and I always thought that the movie was adapted from the cartoon. Of course, once you have Wikipedia, you realize you were wrong. And so that was how it all started. And at some point, I just sort of fell off the fandom as we growing up. But once I saw Extreme Ghostbusters, my interest came back. Actually, it was thanks to Extreme Ghostbusters that reinstated my love for Ghostbusters a bit more than the usual stint whereby I'll be talking about Ghostbusters in school, I'll be talking about Ghostbusters, I'll be playing the theme song, I'll be talking about the theme song, singing the theme song, and then my friends will be like, no, just enough of Ghostbusters, Seriously, I've been like, I can remember like that 3 years between Standard 6 and Form 2 where I'll be just like Ghostbusters, and everyone is like, I have this friend who just like, just wants to shit on Ghostbusters because he has enough of Ghostbusters from me. So I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Hey, you live, eat, and breathe Ghostbusters, bro.
Yep, the proton packs and the slime. And then after a while, it just sort of kept quiet, As most cases, like RoboCop as well, they had a silent period until it came back 2 years ago, and then Ninja Turtles as well had that. And Ghostbusters, I think, had been trying to reinvent himself or try to come back, and they did come back with the 2009 Ghostbusters video game, which to me, if you have played the game, it's essentially the third film. So for those Ghostbusters fans who have played the game, I think they would have a bit of satisfaction that they actually saw a final Ghostbusters film while having the experience of being a Ghostbuster, excuse me. And then of course came those other small games, and they're again more trying to bring that interest back of Ghostbusters, which I think sort of ended with no one say ended. It actually sort of had that halt when Harold Ramis, one of the creators of Ghostbusters, passed away. You know,
Yeah, that was sad time.
big, huge loss, very huge loss, and I think from that point onwards. And when was it that he passed away? Where Harold Ramis? When did he pass away? I know it's a few years back.
Yeah, quite a few years back actually. I don't really remember exactly when.
I'm finding it out. Harold Ramis, February 24th, 2014.
Oh, that's not that long ago actually. That's just 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. He was 69. He passed away at 69 years old.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of fan art about it when it came
Yep.
out.
And not only that, even the comic books published by IDW, especially the guy, the artist's name is not Sam, sorry. I just call him the artist who does good art, and especially does good art for Ghostbusters comics in IDW. He died of complications of autoimmune inflammation vasculitis.
I have no idea what that is, but it
Sounds terrible. But anyway, continue back to the Ghostbusters fandom. I would say, especially with the amount of movies that was being made at the time, where it consisted of sequels and reboots and cinematic universes, like sort of felt like after this event, this very sad event, it was definitely, for me, it definitely sounded like they needed a reboot for this. Because even if you can get a CGI Harold Ramis to act the role, you know, it'll still be kind of, I don't know, a bit fake. You know, I don't know if that's what Ghostbusters fans would like, because as we've seen from the fandom, people want the original four back, which was Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz, Winston Zeddemore, and Egon Spengler, and a bit of Janine, the five.
Which is pretty much impossible because not only is one of them now gone, they are
Exactly. I mean, you can put them as voice cast, but acting chops, if you think about it, none of them, I mean, aside from Bill Murray, whose last job was being in a bear suit, you know, and
the last movie I remember seeing
and
him
that
was
also
in
was like, it was
Zombieland,
I think that was the last time you actually see him playing a real life Ghostbuster, when he was actually a zombie, because those particular scenes that he was in was just like, oh, Ghostbusters, and you know, just the legacy of Bill Murray. And apparently the most prominent legacy of Bill Murray himself was Ghostbusters, you know.
Yeah, he was pretty much just pretending to be himself.
Yep. But as an actor, I would say, although, you know, because of Ghostbusters, for the amount of time it took to finally get a Ghostbusters film, I do not forgive Bill Murray for that. You know, I would always pin him down for the reason why Ghostbusters never got made for a third film, you know, and led to this reboot. Not to say not to say that I have anything against this reboot. It's just that the amount it took, like 3 decades to make a Ghostbusters film, you know. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, it's one absolute production hell, you know.
Well, to be fair, the last few years has been a pretty good climate for reboots. We have been having reboots for all sorts of things and lots of sequels. So maybe now is just a great time for them to finally pop it out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not so much just this film. They have actually announced the animated film, and they've also announced.
What was it called again?
Oh no. The Ghostbusters 2050 is actually
It's a working title, right?
It's a working title, but that's not the film. That is series.
Oh, okay. Wait, they're gonna have animated.
That's what that is what is being rumored like months ago, which again I'm not too happy about this. Not so much that oh you got something new to come out and I just hate it with everything I've got. No, this is pretty much what has been happening to the fandom of Ghostbusters for those 3 decades, whereby at one point they said they were gonna, and this was before the 2009 game, whereby Dan Aykroyd himself said that there's gonna be an animated film, and this was right after the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated film. This was like years ago, right after TMNT. It was like, okay, this might look good, and let's make a movie out of that. Let's see if we can, bank on Ghostbusters by doing something that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did, and then at the same time, there's like so many times that they have rumors that there's a script that was already penned out but never got made. The studio didn't like it, or Bill Murray didn't like it. Again, it's like, and at the same time, those had been happening. Like so many times I'm hearing news, okay, there's so many promises, it's like every word of Dan Aykroyd, I sort of took it to heart because he's a creator, and I'm sure as a creator he would definitely want his, as much as we like Ghostbusters, he's the guy who actually co-created Ghostbusters, and I'm sure he would have more enthusiasm to make another Ghostbusters film, and by hook or by crook, it has to happen. But of course, all those news are like, it was just empty promises. So coming back from those empty promises, this seems like new empty promises. The new Ghostbusters animated film, the new Ghostbusters series. It's like.
Well, let's not worry about the new Ghostbusters series and animated feature yet, because whether or not this movie actually makes it will probably determine whether those two actually
very
come out.
True, and that's very true. And goes the box office rankings always somehow determine what's the next course of action for the future, basically for the films. But in this case, this also is quite huge because, like I said, as it is said, there's already plans for that, and it's not just merchandising; it's these new mediums. I think, and also like the IDW comics, I think they're doing fine. I think so far from the last 2 books that I've read, which was the Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover, and crossover of both Ghostbusters and Real Ghostbusters, they've been a delight.
Mm-hmm.
So, so far the comic is okay. IDW can hold on to the publishing rights for as long as they want. But for the main one is handled by Ghost Corps now, which is pretty much the establishment that Ivan Reitman, the director of the first movie, he's now like, he's pretty much the Kevin Feige of the Ghostbusters, whereby Kevin Feige is the guy who calls the shots for the Marvel movies. He's the CEO of Marvel Studios. So in the same sense, I feel like Ivan Reitman is playing the same part for this expansion of Ghostbusters. So again, it comes down again to this movie, Ghostbusters reboot, which we should talk about because I think I've done.
Yeah, we just spent 15 minutes talking about.
That's why I let you go first, then me, because I'm always.
The condensed version.
Yes, very condensed version from 2 different minds. Okay. So let's see what we've got about this new Ghostbusters film. Of course, the trailer has come out, both the international and actually, come to think about it, why do they call it international trailer and the other one is just called a trailer? I don't get that.
I believe it's got to do with territories and stuff. I think there are different. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there are different standards for what you can show, like violence ratings.
Very true. Very true.
So, and when they say international, they'll probably show in places like not just the US. They probably show in Europe, Japan, places like that. Us. But for some weird reason, we get US trailers here. I don't understand.
Good question. I think we need to ask someone from the film distributors. I'm trying to rack my brain as to why. Some simple reason, but again, we can't.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who distributes the film. Not sure if Ghostbusters, since Ghostbusters is under Sony, they would for to be released in Malaysia, they would probably be under Buena Vista Colombia TriStar distribution. Doesn't matter anyway. We are getting the Ghostbusters reboot in our local cinemas in Malaysia on the 14th of July.
Oh, the 14th of July. We're getting it a day earlier than the guys in the US.
Yep.
Don't worry, we won't spoil it for you if you get to watch it early.
That here's the funny thing. A few I think a few months ago someone actually spoiled the movie and I read it. But of course, for me, my philosophy when it comes to spoilers is this: sure, you get the details, you get what happened, the events, but the point of going to the film and watching it, even though you know it, is to actually live those events. You live those spoilers. You know, like what the most famous spoiler that you can think of from any film?
Probably who's the bad guy or something like that. So I personally prefer to just go in and watch things blind without any expectations, because if anything, my many years of watching movies has told me, if you go in with too much expectations, you're not gonna get your mind blown.
Yeah. Yep. True that. But for me, I'll just like, when you know that and you sort of know it, but you're there witnessing it happening in front of your eyes, makes it feel like you are going through that same process. See, like, yes, what a good example is, you've watched Brave, right?
Which Brave?
The big Disney Pixar.
Yeah, I have.
Remember we didn't know anything about the film except it was this female archer. I think one of my colleagues spoiled the film by saying that it's that the mother became the bear.
Okay.
And then, but of course that's just like, that's just information. But when I was watching the film, seeing that moment happen, okay lah, it brought some emotion. But the only thing I could think about was that it turned from brother bear to mother bear.
I went to watch it blind, so when that happened, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the way I handle spoilers is, if I already know, I might as well just don't watch the movie. But that's just me.
Okay. Alright. So anyway, but of course we won't spoil the movie here. We
don't know anything yet ourselves anyway, so
yeah,
we can't really spoil it for you.
Yep.
Even if we tried.
But the trailer seems to speak a lot. There's a lot of things that's happening in the trailer, and when I look back at the spoilers that they've given, it almost sort of syncs. But I'll just if you think you can come up to your own assumptions through the trailer, which everyone has pretty much done. The whole thing of first impressions. Don't judge the book by its cover, but in the end, people just do that, do they?
Well, I don't know. When I first heard of the Ghostbusters movie coming out, I was like, no, my childhood, don't do this. Too many movies have ruined my childhood. Then I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a chance because it's Ghostbusters. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So a few pictures came out and I was like, ew, what the hell are they wearing?
Yeah.
And stuff. Then when the first trailer came out, I was like, okay, I think I can digest this. I'm not 100% happy with it yet, but I think I'm alright with it. Then when the second trailer came out like about a month ago or so, I was like, I watched it and like, okay, I think I can dig this.
Okay. Then that was the recent one you watched just now, because you watched it before we started this.
Yeah, I watched the second international trailer just before we started recording, and I personally think I'm more interested now because I got to see a few more things which I didn't see in the first trailer. So like how the first time they tested out their proton packs, it pretty much didn't work. So I'm like, okay, I want to see what's going into this process then. And they don't really show you exactly how everybody originally met. Apart from like, oh, okay, you smart, you join our team. Oh, You know the entire New York City. You join our team. You crazy, but you know how to build stuff. You join our team.
Yeah.
Oh, you are handsome receptionist. Join our team.
Yeah.
Pretty much that was
Who
it.
actually happens to be a very dumb blonde Thor.
Who's British?
Actually, he's Australian.
See, that's how much I know about accents.
Speaking of which, before I go to my thoughts on this reboot, I like to talk about the actors first of all, which to me also sort of plays a big role. Aside from the part that these are the people who are making the movie run as it is, who give the movie life. But it's more than just that. But we'll start with who are the actors first. We have Melissa McCarthy, who plays Abby Yates. Melissa
Boss lady.
Boss lady. Yeah, I think she runs the show. I would say that she would run the show as the boss of the Ghostbusters for this one. But aside from because she's quite loud in most of her movies, when it's her time to just let loose, she really lets loose. You should see the bloopers for this movie called This Is 40, which is played by Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd, who was the Ant-Man. And in this one, the bloopers, Melissa was pretty much doing improv on the spot acting. I mean, she was playing this very angry mother who is talking to Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann in the principal's office of a school, and she was raving mad, just just crazy, and also not to mention she's also recently in Spy, and which had Jason Statham, Jude Law. Who else was there? There was only these two actors I can remember. But another thing was that that Spy movie was directed by Paul Feig, who also is the director for this Ghostbusters reboot. So from that movie I see how the direction is, that how the vision would be similar to this Ghostbusters film. And that's that. Also, fun fact, Melissa McCarthy, if you remember the Gilmore Girls, Melissa McCarthy was in that show.
Okay, I didn't know she was.
Yeah, me too. She was she was a minor character, and now she's a big star, and that's the big deal because Gilmore Girls is getting a comeback as well.
More reboot.
And I wouldn't say it's a reboot. It's the same thing. More like a reinvention of the old series. You still have the same actors, you still have the same actresses, and I think what was big was whether Melissa McCarthy will come back.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a different territory already. So we all know, I think most people who watch Hollywood films know who Melissa McCarthy is. We'll go on to Kristen Wiig, who is one of the Saturday Night Live actors. She has been in a few films. The one that comes to mind right now is Walter Mitty. I know there's a big, huge title like The Misadventures of Walter Mitty. She was also in Zoolander 2, I believe.
That's another movie I haven't watched, by the way. I'm very, very behind on my movies.
Okay. But have you seen Kristen Wiig in action before?
I probably have, but I probably couldn't remember where.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's been in tons of movies, but the big thing for me is two things for this one when you're talking about this movie is because one, this is a Saturday Night Live actress who, if you do remember, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd were also Saturday Night Live actors.
Oh, that's where they started.
Pretty much. So this sort of continues that sort of legacy that Ghostbusters, something that the fans have liked for many years, started off with two Saturday Night Live actors. Now, of course, in this movie there's three: Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones, which we'll be talking about later. But for now, we'll just focus on Kristen Wiig. The second one, of course, is because Paul Feig had directed her in a movie called Bridesmaid.
Bridesmaid.
Yeah, Apparently, this is the before it was released, it was supposed to be like the female version of The Hangover.
Okay. Okay.
You remember The Hangover? A bunch of guys, who go to Las Vegas and then they end up drunk and then they don't remember what happened. All those times they were drunk and they were missing a friend.
I don't really remember that one. Sorry.
It's one of those big stoner films.
It sounds like another version of Dude, Where's My Car?
With grown-ups, with sane grown-ups. Yeah, no aliens, nothing whatsoever, just down-to-earth guys, dudes, who have careers, and one has a mental retardedness, played by Zach Galifianakis. Anyway, so Feig also directed Kristen Wiig in the Bridesmaid film, which, comedy is like okay. I don't see a problem with that. It's comedy, you're supposed to laugh, and it's not a franchise or anything. Okay, so like I mentioned just now, Kristen Wiig was the first, is the Saturday Night Live actress that I've mentioned here. The second one is Kate McKinnon, who plays the scientist who creates the gadgets and the gizmos of the Ghostbusters. Actually, seeing her in Saturday Night Live also, she's known to play a lot of out of the norm characters.
Wacky stuff.
Yeah, she's wacky. She's really wacky. And also I think that it really shows in the gizmos, the new gizmos that we've seen recently.
Oh yeah, Ghost Bear Trap.
There is the double shooter, double guns.
The pistols, you mean?
Yes, pistols. Yeah, can't get my gizmos right.
Yeah, I find those pretty interesting because like most of the time for most incarnations of Ghostbusters, you guys get the regular proton packs, which sort of look like rifles in a sense. Then you suddenly have these pistols, which I feel like is a bit of a nod to the Extreme Ghostbusters. I don't know if it's true or not, but the first time something like that showed up was in Extreme Ghostbusters. One of the main characters, Kylie, had this little tiny proton pack which had a equally as tiny pistol on it because she was too small to carry the normal proton pack stuff.
Right.
So like suddenly seeing pistols come back again, I'm like, okay. I hope it's a nod. If it doesn't, then I don't really care. I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm also quite happy that they sort of expanded this and not just like, kept it as it is. These are modern. I mean, over the years as times change, there's some sort of little modernizations that's made. Give one example is to another franchise is RoboCop. Remember how clunky he was in the first 3 films?
Oh yeah, then he suddenly came back as this really streamlined thing. At first I was like, whoa, holy hell.
Yep. Yeah, it's like moving with the times. So at least for this Ghostbusters film, I give my hats off for that. Because as you've seen in I don't know if you've watched Ghostbusters 2, right? You've mentioned.
No, I haven't.
No. I'll describe it here, whereby there is one scene in Ghostbusters 2 where there is this guy, there is a ghost who runs, and he's this athlete, and he's running down what I believe is Madison Square.
Okay.
I think it's a park, and it almost looks like a stakeout scene from a police story,
Police story.
And yeah, not to say Jackie Chan's one per se lah. It's just movies that involve cops and stakeouts.
Okay. You say police story like Jackie Chan.
My bad. Okay. Whereby the trap is set by Peter Venkman in the park, and as this ghost runs by, he gets sucked into the trap, and I was like, that's convenient. I mean, like, cause all this while Ghostbusters just they have the proton packs, and it's a must to have a proton pack to capture the ghost. But in this case, it's just like, let's keep the proton packs and just go straight with the trap.
Maybe that particular ghost was just a little dumb. So like, I just keep running, all the thing running, that thing, bye bye.
Poor fella. So I'm quite happy that they actually up their game with the Ghostbusters tech. I'm still not sure how they work, but it looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool to me actually.
Well, it's definitely different from our old school proton packs, which pretty much is a board with some vacuum cleaner parts stuck to it and some random things. Now
Yeah.
it's good that they've upgraded it because they're going for a more modern time. I mean, when did the original Ghostbusters film come out?
1984.
We were kids.
Yeah.
In the 80s. Yeah, we were like, we didn't exist yet even. So like, when back then all their stuff was big and clunky. I mean, that's probably the era when satellite phones came out, and you know how big those things are. Now we've got smartphones, they're so small you can slip in your pocket and forget they're there.
Yes. Yep, just slip it in and you won't even notice it.
I do, but in terms of tech, I do like the fact that they kind of brought back the Ecto 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it more or less looks like the original version with some minor changes.
What was it? What was the car model? Because the original Ecto 1 was a Cadillac.
I don't know. All I know is it's a hearse. The Ecto 1 has always been a hearse.
Uh-huh. Okay, alright, my bad. Wrong car. I'm not good with cars.
I'm not very good with cars either. It's just that, I know this one because you chuck coffins with dead bodies in them.
Yep, and the Ghostbusters case is the proton packs and whatever gizmos they need. Alright, so okay, I think we've talked about enough tech. We've actually went on from actress to tech. Now we're going on to the third Saturday Night Live actress in this film, which is Leslie Jones.
Okay, you mentioned so many people from Saturday Night Live and night shows and stuff. Maybe that's how they all know each other, because they're from like the same industry or something.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's Hollywood. Or someone's got to know someone, and even if they don't, you don't see them on film together, you probably might have seen them on Instagram. So you'll be like shipping. Like when I saw Kelly Hu. Was it Kelly Hu? It basically just falls under the Marvel DC stuff. Like when you see Samuel L. Jackson with that lady who played Ellie Young, the lady who played Elektra in New Daredevil series. So it's like, oh, we're gonna have Nick Fury with Elektra. Ooh, only for that one moment on Instagram.
One can dream.
Yep. Then again, it's up to Kevin Feige to see the possibilities of that happening. Anyway, go back to this. Leslie Jones, who obviously plays the African American, the double A of the team, she sort of takes on this role that Ernie Hudson used to play, which was Winston Zedmore. But of course, she plays Patty Tolan here. Here's my thing. What's your take on this character?
I personally feel that she's more for comic relief, but at the same time she's also sort of like the backbone of the team. Brute force aside, because she's the biggest member of the team as well.
And we've seen her brute side before in the trailer.
The power of pain compels you.
Just by
Yeah, I think she's there mostly for comic relief and maybe a bit like a plot device, because she also seems to be their getaway driver in a sense.
In fact, she was the one who got the car for them, remember?
Yeah, she got the car for them, and she's the one who joined up saying that I know like the entire New York City, so
yep.
She's probably going to be the extremely important but not seem very important character in the early part of the movie maybe. And like they do some pretty awful things to her, like they perch a freaking gigantic ghost on the shoulders and she just tries to like figure out what to do with it. Then she suddenly has like this pair of kids that take a selfie in front of her. She's like, really? Really? Got this gigantic big ass thing on my shoulders and you want to take a picture of me? What?
It's so funny. That part really...
That's a jab to the current generation.
Yeah, I was just like, in this area where, even like you get knocked down by a car, and if you're still alive, if not for your bones being together, you can actually still take a selfie of yourself being knocked down.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm just got in a car accident, here's a picture, I'm not dead. Someone call the ambulance, please.
Yeah. And the other supposedly funny scene is a bit goes a bit more racial. The part she falls down in the crowd and is like, I don't know if there's a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm pissed as hell.
I personally think they all just ran off because she's gigantic. It's not because you're a lady, it's not because you're black, it's because you're a freaking giant.
Well, yeah, I'll just go with that. Because in this age, is like, racial seems to be the big thing to talk about, and just like, let's just not bring that into the movie. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, whatever hate there is, please just don't bring it here.
It's like, it's fun and all to poke fun at racial jokes and all that, but I think it's getting, we're coming to an era where race is a bit less important than it used to be.
Yeah.
So like, we shouldn't be making race as the butts of a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, on a really small scale, I'm like, okay, but if you make it like super duper apparent, people are just gonna be like all disgusted and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of, for me, it's just like, that's just what comedians and comedy seems to be relying on, I feel. I mean, sure, when you see through the years of comedy, you're always going at that direction, and people somehow find it amusing.
I don't. It's only funny on a surface level. After that, it just gets like,
yeah.
Really? Do you have to do this?
Exactly. I just sort of see that scene, and I'm just like, okay, they went that direction. But now that you say that, okay, that she's big, all right, let's put it as a possible.
Yeah, she's like, she's a freaking titan. Nothing against people who are tall. She's just really, really big. And personally, if someone were to stage dive for me when they are that big, I'd run too.
But you have to.
Because I'm just a tiny 5 foot something person, I will die if there's no one going to help me catch that.
How do you explain Melissa McCarthy? What is Abby Yates' part? Because she's also got us almost.
And she's big size, yes, but she's not nearly as tall. And there were more people there, so like, I don't know. Maybe I need to watch that scene again, but it seems that I don't know. Maybe they just did it on purpose just to make it a joke.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't put too much slapstick into this. I know that Ghostbusters is supposed to be a comedy to begin with, but I just really, really hope they don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Because then it gets really cheesy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Because if you look back at the original Ghostbusters, I mean, sure, we're not going to do some comparison, but we sort of use this as like a reference, the original as a reference to how Ghostbusters comedies were. They weren't loud. I mean, even like for Peter Venkman's character, who is a flirt, he doesn't come off as a flirt. He comes off as a guy who just likes to talk to girls. He's more comfortable talking to girls. But it's not like now where you see, I don't know, if when you imagine a guy who's after girls, who's going directly and is like going for the main thing, the goal. Whereas Peter Venkman is not really looking for a goal. He's just like swerving around, playing around, takes time to make a connection.
Well, you gotta also take into consideration when it was filmed.
Yeah, 1984. So, which again brings back to how when you see times have changed, and we enjoyed that sort of comedy and the comedy that's being that's being made now. So it's a bit like, okay, should we take this in, or should we be like, this is not for me, and just like, that's that. There wasn't any racial jokes in Ghostbusters. There wasn't like any stat in feminism or anything. Like, there was just like, these are characters, and they are they're doing their own thing, and they are running the show. Whereas this Ghostbusters, as we have yet to see, but it seems like, that's just, how do you say, we've got all this, and probably these are the things that you would not like, but most of them might like,
Also, don't forget, we have the internet now, so lots more people can complain about things before.
Yeah.
Back to before.
Yeah, there's that too.
So you get all sorts of opinions.
Yep. All sorts of opinions.
Yeah, I've been seeing people going like, oh my goodness, they can't possibly have female Ghostbusters. It ain't right. Yeah, other people saying like, I think it's great that they're female Ghostbusters, feminism and all that. I'm just like, okay, it's a different take. I don't see what's the problem of having it inversed. I understand that not everybody will like it. Everybody has their taste.
Yep.
I mean, I personally, if it had just been a regular reboot of Ghostbusters as it was originally, I probably wouldn't watch it because we're like, okay, nothing's going to surprise me anymore.
Yep.
Then you suddenly have this wacky group of ladies who I really have no idea what to expect. But I think the film is probably going to be pretty good, or at least above expectations, and that's much I'm hoping. So yeah,
Same.
that's all I
Same.
can say about it until I actually watch the film, which is coming out next month.
Yep.
2 weeks, give or take.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yep. For 14 July, which is like sort of a week after Hari Raya, or after 2 weeks.
About a week after that,
Yeah. Yep. We definitely something to look out for. Yeah, we haven't finished the casts. There's just some few casts I would take. I mean, obviously we know Chris Hemsworth in this one playing the role of Janine, the secretary, but he's going by the name of Kevin.
I don't know about him. He doesn't seem quite right. Like, if he's just there as a secretary, having such a A-list actor feels extremely weird, considering that everybody else in your cast is from nightlife. So like, he must have a greater role than just being their dumb blonde secretary. So I'm hoping to see what actually comes out of this.
Yeah, you make a good point. You make a good point, but for me there's a bit of distaste. One of the distastes of this movie is just, you put ladies, everyone's like, oh, female power and all that, but and then you come to the guy part, that one guy who represents the probably a bit of the male side of the Ghostbusters, some sort of sign that there is some strong male guys in the Ghostbusters, and you've got this blonde guy who cannot differentiate, who doesn't know which phone he should take to answer. Is it the phone in the abandoned aquarium, or is it the phone that's not ringing on his table?
Well, at least he remembers that there's a phone in the aquarium.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just a bit unfair because, again, reference time to original Ghostbusters, Janine was pretty strong as a character herself, although she didn't have much parts, and she still played like the lady who's swooning over Egon Spengler. But I'm just looking at collectively from all the variations of Janine, and she actually is one lady who can hold on her own as a Ghostbusters.
Yeah, she can really hold her own. I think there's a few episodes in the real Ghostbusters, I think, where they all got into trouble and she had to save them.
Yeah. I had that in the comic in the what's this Ghostbusters Get Real comic by IDW as well, where she puts on the proton pack and she puts on the Ghostbusters suit and she's out saving the original four.
Yeah, so she's not just a receptionist, man. She's like their last ditch savior.
Yeah, and I'm seeing this guy Kevin, and I'm just like, what? It's like, really, you've just gone to that. I wouldn't question the IQ of this character, just the, how do I do it, social sensitivity. Yeah, those just, I don't know. He just seems to be this guy who's in his own world and who's oblivious to what's going on, and only like if the idea comes to his head, then it would matter for him to bring it out. Whereas like the Ghostbusters have already worked on it already, and he's just like, okay, that's done already, I'll try and find another one.
Yeah, they really portray him as like he's really, really slow for some reason.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I think it's a cover.
That's what I mean. Obviously the trailers have shown more, but we'll just have to see when the movie comes out. And then to make things a bit quicker, we've got the original actors in this movie as cameos, which is another gripe that people have been talking about, which I've mentioned before, just about the whole 30 decades of not having a Ghostbusters film, and suddenly you've got the original actors coming in just as cameos. So we have, of course, Harold Ramis is not out of the picture, so we have Bill Murray, who played Peter Venkman, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver is gonna be in this one as cameo. Yeah, Ernie Hudson.
So we're having a fair amount of the...
Yep, and even Janine, played by Annie Potts. She's playing a hotel clerk here.
Okay. So I guess we'll be playing Spot the Cameo when we actually go to watch this then.
Yep, exactly. And also another cameo to spot apparently is Ozzy Osbourne.
Which I'm quite sure he'll be quite easy to spot.
Or he could be the ghost in that one.
Yeah, Yeah, he could be a ghost, probably.
Who else? Oh, Andy Garcia. Oh boy, he was like one of the sought-out actors in the 80s and 90s. I don't remember much of his role, but when he was acting in those roles and I saw him acting, I was just like, wow. The Untouchables with Kevin Costner. I also want to say Back to the Future, but there's another guy, Sean. What's this guy's name? Charlie Sheen's brother.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but never mind. Andy Garcia, very sought out 80s and 90s actor who's playing the mayor of New York City.
Yeah, he shows up in the trailer a couple of times, right?
I didn't even recognize it was him. I was like, alright, I thought it was some other unknown actor playing the mayor. Then I'm like looking.
I didn't even know who he was till you told me who he was. I'm like, damn, son.
He's also like 60 years old, same age as Mel Gibson, and yeah, I mean, of course, this is the age where films you need to have some sort of star power in order to sell the film. So now it's just all about just waiting for the movie to come out and just seeing how it is.
Yeah, to see where it goes. They'll probably release like another trailer before, like maybe a week or so before the movie comes out. Just
Right.
Or they may not. I don't know. I'm sure the cinematic trailers are running already by now.
Or maybe they'll come up with another song from the soundtrack.
Considering they had a teaser for the original trailer and that coming out.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? Do you need to make a teaser just for the first trailer?
Yeah. That seems to be the case these days. I'm like, even like Jack Reacher, the second movie, Jack Reacher is like 45 seconds for a teaser for the trailer. You know? Remember back then it was more like, okay, you've got a movie come out, and just to show you what you're gonna expect when you're watching the film, here's a trailer.
Yes.
Right? Now in this case, you got the movie. And if you want to know what's in the movie, you have the trailer. The thing is, people are already judging too much by the trailer, so before you see the big thing in 2 minutes, here's the one you'll be seeing for 45 seconds. You know? And but understandable, this is like, the way I've come to think about it, is all just like only for sequels and big franchise movies, you know? If it's like something like on a small scale, even like that monster truck film I shared with you guys the other day.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I saw that, like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. The movie, the trailer looks awesome. I think it's like one of those films that you've not seen in a long time, whereby it's all just fun, randomness, and just pure fun, you know? But they didn't have like some sort of teaser for the trailer, you know, or like a TV spot. It's just like,
oh, it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's just like, maybe that might lead into a new franchise, but you know, it's not treated as such, whereby you got these big movies, you know, big reboots and big remakes and big sequels, and you know, you've got teasers, and then you've got the trailer, and then you got the teasers to the trailer. You know?
Yeah, it just goes out of control.
Yeah. Then again, you know, it's the internet. You know, no limits, so it's like whatever you can put just to entice the potential audience, you know, just put it out there.
Make it as viral as possible.
Yep, and then you'll be like, oh, this is the most hated video of all time, this is the most viral video of all time, everyone likes this, everyone's the most commented video, blah blah blah, you know?
Well, okay, I think we've gone quite over the mark. The recording's like hitting almost an hour already.
I think we've also covered up as much as we can with Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I think we said enough.
Yeah, probably we'll have another talk about this after the movie comes out. So for now, this is more like an expectations and, you know, the life of a Ghostbusters fan kind of video, whereby we tell you what we're expecting, what we hope to see, what we hope to enjoy. Because at this point of time, yes, I mentioned that there's a few hiccups here and there which we don't really like, but it's not something where we would be like harping on for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, it's definitely not my childhood's going to be ruined 100%.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Feig himself said, I think one of those responses, he was like, if I were to really destroy your childhood, you would be dead or something like that. I mean,
He really said that?
something like that. I know he said something about having your parents dead, or I don't know. I mean, it's a bit far out, a bit too much for anyone to handle. But at this point, when you see how much hate is there, you just can't help but explode, you know. And it's not like this guy's ill ball, he ill.
That's another legend over there.
Infamous city. And from what I was reading the other day was that he makes movies, people hate it like mad, and he not only he doesn't even go to defend his film, he talks trash about other guys who talk trash at him, and held a boxing match with those who criticize him. I'm like, whoa.
Well, you can't do stuff like that nowadays. Lawsuits.
Even though there's things to not like about this film, it's not U-ball level yet. You still got a bit of the.
Here's hoping that isn't a touch.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the nostalgia there. You have the Ghostbusters logo. You still have the Ghostbusters original theme being played. There's a bit of a dubstep inserted there, but you still have the original one. So nostalgia is still there. To sell the movie at this point. So I don't know. It's just the whole thing with everything else that it's involved with negativity. Yeah, just like for this next 3 months, 3 weeks, just put that aside, keep your cool, just wait till the movie comes and then have your say when the movie comes,
Yeah, just treat it as another movie. I mean, yes, they're probably flying a bit on nostalgia factor, but given how much they've changed the entire thing, I don't think they're riding on that much nostalgia factor, If they really wanted to hit the nostalgia factor like super duper hard, they'd just make the first movie or something.
Yeah,
like, exactly.
which is
We'll probably be seeing a lot of homages in this movie. Like, you'll be on the Easter egg hunt from the movie.
Yep, Milo Man. Got that, the Twinkies.
The ghost in the library.
Twinkies. Yeah, the Twinkies, the yellow mushy bread with vanilla.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. So that's definitely that to watch out for. So yep, that's that. And definitely after that we've watched that movie, we'll definitely be talking about this in our next video.
We'll probably have another video telling you what we think about this.
Exactly.
When we finally get to watch it.
Yep, exactly. Which is 14th of July in Malaysian time. So we're just gonna wait for that. Set your timers to that time. Make sure you plan. Get your plans all straightened out for that movie, just in case you want to see it on the release date.
Buy your tickets in advance if you can. There's gonna be a line.
Hopefully not like.
And you'll probably find us in it.
Depends where. Okay, then I guess we've covered everything.
So yeah, I think it's time to call it a wrap. So thank you all so much for listening in to our ranty podcast about.
Yep, No Limits. With me, JJ, aka the Jumper Jacks, and
Ashentric.
Alright, good night and good luck. And happy Ramadan to you guys in advance.
Yes, stay safe on the roads. Don't eat too much. Say hi to all your family. Okay,
Alright,
everybody.
then.
Good night.
Ciao.